Good morning. Welcome to Nonprofit Dreaming's Solutions Spotlight. This morning we have with us Jeremiah Kincaid with Mission in Motion, and I'm going to turn the floor over to him and let him outline the challenge he's going to solve and how Mission in Motion solves it. Thanks, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Melissa. All right. We are going to show an example of streamlining the class creation process inside of Agentforce Nonprofit, aka Nonprofit Cloud. So before I get into that, let's talk about the problem. So today, inside of program management, when you're in AFNP, aka Agentforce Nonprofit, aka Nonprofit Cloud, it takes multiple steps to create a new class under a program and then create all of the sessions with a schedule. And we were implementing AFNP for a customer of ours, and they were like, look, like the multiple steps here, we really wish we could have an all-in-one step-by-step process where we're not hopping around Salesforce that can do all this to make sure people get the whole process done, that the whole sequence is covered, and there aren't like half-created class records in the system, especially because we actually have these class records showing on their website in a registration component that we had built for them as part of this process. And so the solution that we put together, it's a two-part, we're using, and we'll show a little bit behind the scenes for any admins that are watching this, but we created a button that goes through, has two screens, one creating the benefit record, which is what a class record is, and then a second screen of creating the schedules. And we actually were able to reuse Salesforce's standard create schedule sessions, which was the big thing that we want to show here, because I don't think people quite realize that in AFNP, you can actually reuse that functionality. That's not just a button on the screen that Salesforce puts on there and there's nothing you can do about it. You can actually put it into a flow inside of Salesforce. So I am going to switch over to I am in the sandbox of this particular customer, ICRF. We actually had one of their folks come out to Nonprofit Dreamin' this past year to talk about their experience getting onto Salesforce. And so I'm in their sandbox. They were the folks that wanted this efficiency built into their Salesforce environment. So I'm going to click on their Buy Bootcamp program record here because I'm in the program management app. And this create benefit button is a custom button that we made. And I just want to show you what it looks like now. I'm going to create a new class for them. Let's create the Buy Bootcamp Q4 2026 class. And then I'm going to go and fill out some of these other required pieces of information. I'll make this a class of 30. We're going to start it October 1st, go all the way through December 31st. Let's make the registration start on the 1st. Again, the whole registration aspect of this actually drives the component on their website, so it's important they fill that out. And then we're going to say 10 to 2, Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the description. And then let's say it's Castle Creek 2 in Indianapolis, Suite 231. And then I'm going to press next here. So here's the big part. This guy right here, I'm going to press this, and this is actually going to load Salesforce's standard benefit schedule component. We did not make this part. We did not make it from scratch. We were reusing standard Salesforce functionality that normally you don't have access to on a button on the benefit record itself, but we're putting this all in one process, all in one step-by-step, so that folks don't lose their way if they create the benefit, but then forget to create the schedule and the sessions. So let me go ahead and name this one as well. Same sort of name here, Q4 of 2026. So each one of these classes, the benefit quantity of 1, again, 30 max participants. Let's go ahead and make the first session date October, Friday the 2nd, and then it's going to start at 10. So we're actually programming this in now. We're not trying, the whole idea here is we don't want to build all of this logic from scratch. We definitely want to reuse what Salesforce has out of the box. We're going to make this a weekly schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the benefit schedule ends we're going to do the on here, and we're going to go into, say it ends on the 31st of December. I'm going to press next, and it's going to show you a preview. And they only shows you the first 5 on here. This all looks right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Fantastic. I'm going to press save, and then it's going to take me to the new class record. And then you'll see it's got all the information I filled in, and it also has the schedules. And then you can see the upcoming sessions. If I click on view upcoming sessions here, you'll see it created all of these all the way through the reoccurrence schedule based on that session. So we were able to take multiple step process between different parts of the Salesforce environment here and put it all in one screen flow. And the place that, so I want to show you a little bit behind the scenes here. So I'm going to click on, I'm actually going to go into the setup area inside of here, go to the flows section and pull up this flow and to show you just show you from an admin side what this looks like. So this was a screen flow, and so you've got this first screen here, and then it creates the benefit record, and then this benefit scheduler is the big thing I want to show. And this is the part for folks that are on MPSP admins. Again, this is the admin part of the presentation. Anyone who's on an admin can just glaze over here for a minute. You don't need to necessarily follow this part. This right here is part of Omni Studio, which I know some admins are like, oof, Omni Studio. So we were actually combining both a flow and Omni Studio together, and then we did not want to reinvent this wheel. We wanted to use that out of the box benefit scheduler that comes with Salesforce Nonprofit Cloud, but we wanted to put it in the flow itself so we could control the step by make an all-in-one process here. And we were able to do that by adding this. This flex card is a component that you can just drag in as input into your screen flow, and then this calls the what's called the Omni script, which is what pops up, and that's where you put in your benefit schedule information that I just showed earlier. So, and I just want to show real quick here in this Omni scripts, which is just a place under App Launcher, Omni Studio. You got all kinds of Omni stuff in here. You get this out of the box in Salesforce. You can actually, I'm going to open this up. You can go through and clone this. Now this gets a little bit crazy. There's a lot of, Salesforce made this multiple languages, which is why it's using these labels here. We're not going to look at all of this, but the point is that this was built by Salesforce. This is standard functionality in Salesforce, and you can clone it and modify it to your needs, but it's not necessary for what we did here. But ultimately, a button that is normally just something that you have available under the benefits section here, this new benefit schedule, I click on this. This component is something that you can reuse and put into your own ScreenFlow component for efficiency for users. You don't have to build this from scratch. So that's what we did for ICRF. And they really appreciate the efficiency gains they got there and making sure that they have complete data whenever folks are putting in new classes, because they're always scheduling new classes and putting those registrations on their website. And then, yeah, just a little bit about Mission in Motion. We're a certified Salesforce partner specializing in custom solutions for nonprofit organizations, and our mission is to deliver those digital transformations that unlock efficiency, foster growth, and create lasting change.
Awesome. I love it so much, Jeremiah. Can I ask you a few questions? So
go ahead.
Is Mission in Motion based in Indianapolis?
We are. We are based in Indianapolis. Our headquarters is in Indianapolis. I'm currently in the Indianapolis office today, but we have folks around the United States as well.
Oh, cool. But so the what you just showed us itself, right? I am interested to know, I mean, UX is definitely my thing, right? And so this is for your program directors, the people that are actually inside Salesforce.
Yes, these are correct.
Yeah, which is huge. I mean, because you run into a lot of challenges inside Salesforce. And reusing that standard benefit functionality, I mean, that's best practices. Obviously, use whatever is out of the box before you start customizing.
Yep.
The Omni script, right? You said, I mean, and so basically what you all did there was just pull the basic standard, what Salesforce already built, into that flow and didn't do
Correct.
anything to customize it, right?
That's correct. We were able to put it in the flow, embed it into this something called a flex card, which is just Omni Studio's way to show their own user interface. And then we were able to put that into the flow so that we could then do a guided, customized step-by-step process so that we make sure that whenever a benefit record, aka class is created, it already has everything that's needed, so it's safe to then flow it into other parts of the system.
Right. And obviously no training required. I mean, you don't have to, not a lot of teaching for the folks that are at the nonprofit to be able to understand how to use it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that there's to use it, no. Like once you have that button there, when I showed just the regular user interface as a program manager or a program coordinator, no, that you should be able to, just step by step and you're all good. But if you, as an admin, as I showed there, like the OmniScript, there's a lot of knobs and interesting settings and things to learn on the OmniScript side as an admin. So it's a very rich environment for you to build automations and customizations.
And I have to admit, my specialty is nonprofit success pack, not AFNP. So I'm curious from the OmniScript side of things. They have a benefit schedule that's standard. Are there other standard things that are already built that might be used in a similar way?
Yep. Yes, there are other what are called industry cloud functionality as part of nonprofit cloud being an industry cloud that you get. So yeah, I wanted to keep us focused on just this one. But there is more in that list that comes out of the box. Yeah.
Awesome. Akash, Susan, y'all got questions?
Not for me, thank you.
Hi, Jeremy. So my first question is related to the program managers, right?
Yes.
Do they need some extra permissions to use the flex cards from Omni Studio?
Yes, there is. So there are some permission sets related to program management that you can assign them. And I can't remember off the top of my head if it includes Omni Studio functionality. There's a permission that's called like Omni Studio user that they would need as part of this. I believe the permission sets have that in there already, but if they don't, you would just need to assign that permission.
One of the permissions I remember that it is for creating the flex cards or using the Omni Studio, build using the Omni Studio. Is there any separate permission? My question was, is there any separate permission to actually use the cards?
So
the second question, sorry.
Go ahead. What's your second question?
Yeah, second question is related to the screen that you showed earlier, where you have import. Like, I think you were creating a class.
Yes.
You mentioned that there was a text field. Here you mentioned Monday, Wednesday, Friday, MWF for the session. Start date and the end dates. I just want to know that because when we were running through the scheduler and the out of the box flex card, we have to put the same piece of information there as well, and that is of course meaningful. So is there a way we can tie it back? We can tie it directly to when we open the flex card. It should be pre-populated.
Yep, you can. I didn't want to get too deep in customizing this, just given that I wanted to keep it simple. But that OmniScript, you can clone it and then customize it, and in there you can then pass in. You can pass to it variables. So in the flow, you can go like, okay, let's take the start date, end date of what they had set whenever they were creating that first screen where we were filling out just the class information. You could then pass it into that flex card component which would then flow into the OmniScript to then automatically populate those fields. You could do that. I did not for the purpose of this demo, but it's definitely something you can do.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. I think those were all the questions that I had, but keeping it low code is really very useful when it comes to the scalability of a particular requirement, right? And I love the approach.
Yep, and we if you clone that component, if there's any updates in the future to Salesforce, this is kind of like using a permission set that's provided out of the box versus making your own custom permission sets. Once you clone it, it's yours, it doesn't change, which means that if Salesforce changes something about that benefit schedule in the future, that's one of the downsides of cloning. So you got to weigh the pros and cons of that, but at least you're not rebuilding what was there. But if you want to add those additional efficiencies of auto-populating certain fields on that scheduler, then yeah, you're going to want to clone and then make those updates.
Right. Perfect, because this is something that I have used recently when I was creating the grant application forms. So using the flex cards to actually generate that application for the grantees. This is really beneficial, and it is also easy for admins to use actually once they get through it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
I would think.
Yes. All right.
So I did think of one other thing, Jeremiah,
Go
and
ahead.
I know this is a little bit out of the scope of what you were talking about, but I heard you say, and tell me if I'm wrong, that these classes, once they're entered in the schedule, then it is surfaced on the website.
Yep.
So
Sure
people can
is.
sign up for them, right?
Yep.
Yep. So I'm thinking about that, and I mean, I know that's another whole back end sort of thing, but so it only has to be entered once. It doesn't have to be entered again for it to be on the website.
Yes. Yep. That was, I will say, that was like a decent amount of like traditional development, web development. They have a WordPress site. They came from an LMS. They're using an LMS called Arlo as their CRM, which you can imagine it's just like, well, that's probably not going to work well long term, which is why they transitioned to Salesforce. But Arlo had WordPress components that they put on their website to display registration. So they liked the way that worked, and we were like, cool, we can basically replicate the look and feel of this, but the data is now going to come from Salesforce. So we ended up, building a custom component that runs like with PHP, HTML, CSS, all that good stuff, and it's doing API calls to Salesforce to pull that data.
Wonderful, and doing it both ways, right? So the registrations come back in too, not like a Google form that you have to.
Yeah,
it's
actually, it's actually a hybrid. So we got that, like the initial rendering of that information is, as mentioned, with the custom web. But when you click on the register button, we actually redirect you to a guest user experience cloud page. And then we're using a screen flow to finish the registration and using Salesforce's low code, just like what I showed you, to do the rest of it, which allows us to customize them easier, that registration, or add new kinds of things to registration process in the future. So.
Awesome. Good. I appreciate you telling us about that, Jeremiah, because it's like kind of the whole picture, right? I mean, that's an important part, is being able to easily create those classes, but the end goal, right, is so that people can actually sign up for those classes. So Yep. I love it.
That is correct.
Anything else? Anybody questions? Anything else you'd like to add, Jeremiah? Thank you so much again for doing this for us today. This is fascinating. And it's the first time I've really seen a good demo of those OmniScript situations.
OmniCards.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I think that we've covered everything, and I appreciate all the great questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Melissa,
awesome.
anything?
Thank you. We will see you again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.